Hey, are we live? Hey, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Somebody tell me you can hear me. Just send me a text. Put it in the chat. Somebody say, can you hear my dulcet tones as I talk to you here on the Wednesday edition of the Mike Meyers live stream, Ask Mike Anything, with our special guest speaker, Dr. Dawn Dunkerley. I sound great. Okay, thank you, guys. First of all, let me introduce you to our guest speaker today, Dawn Dunkerley, the author of the McGraw Hill Security Passport book. And I'm very irritated to say that her book is done before mine. I bow to you, Dawn. Congratulations. Dawn, welcome aboard. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So we have a lot of people who are extremely interested in Security Plus. And I'd like to start off with something pretty simple, if you don't mind, and that is, why Security Plus?
A great question. Security Plus, to me, is one of the foundational certifications in the field. Anytime someone comes and asks me, hey, I'm really interested in breaking into the field, really securing employment, what should I do? If they haven't done a certification prior, Security Plus is a great place to start. I think it really is, again, foundational, covers a lot of the basic aspects of the field that we expect and very much need candidates and employees to know and master. So I'm very honored to have been able to work this series. Now, I think this is my third.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And it just has been a great opportunity.
It's great. I mean, you make me look good, darling, and I thank you for that. And then, to me, people say, well, Mike, what is Security Plus? And I always go, okay, imagine a big, round, like 6-foot dining room table. And this table is all the knowledge that is IT security. Then grab a pepper shaker, okay? And then take your fingers and grab just a pinch of pepper and then throw it on the table. And those little points are the objectives that are Security Plus. Would you be offended if I said it was almost a survey of IT security?
No, I think that's absolutely right. Of course, there are other certifications that really dive vastly deeper into specific points within the field. But definitely, I would say it's a starting place to make sure that you've kind of grasped the core concepts across the board, all the pepper that you can gather off the table.
Absolutely. So, Dawn, I got to ask this. I mean, how did you get started in IT security? I mean, give me the 2-paragraph version of, I was walking down the street, minding my own business, and then
I got hit by a car, and
go.
It was a security bus. No, so I actually, my bachelor's degree is in information technology, and had done a fair bit of computer programming and system admin work, and so I had the opportunity to go back for a master's program. And at that point in time, cybersecurity wasn't even a term. It was a twinkle in everyone's eye. And so it was either network security or information security. And I was reading through the curriculum. It looked really, really interesting, really caught my attention. And so I said, I'll take a couple of classes this first semester and see how it goes, see if I'm interested, if I'm not wasting my money, and absolutely fell in love with it. Fell in love with the domain itself, and it's really just such an interesting space to be in. Has been a great job space to be in as well. So I completely changed over my employment to focus on security. And it's been wonderful since. I'll tell you, I didn't have a certification to my name at the time, and I've really worked hard over the last probably 15 years to really try to gather what I felt like were the necessary ones to kind of get ahead and try to stay relevant. And certainly the Security Plus is one of those. But I just if you do what you love and love what you do, every day is absolutely a joy. And I just love working in this field.
Works for me. Yeah. So, hey guys, before I ask Dawn some more questions, first of all, I want to let you guys know, number one, we are giving away at least 5 or possibly up to 10 copies of Dawn's book. Now, I need to warn you, her book is not yet out. Dawn, do you have a physical copy of your book yet?
I do not. I do
Okay.
not.
Neither do we. Anyway, but it's going to, McGraw Hill just told me today that the ebooks will be available. I don't know if they're going to be available in stores, but they will be available for us to pass out next week. So kids, we're giving away Dawn's books today. In fact, she even said she'd sign your ebooks.
Certainly.
I don't get out much. Anyway, but in order to get a book, here's what you got to do. Number one, I'm going to have my usual wildly unfair competitions. And I will ask a question, and then whoever types it into the live chat first, to my satisfaction, wins. So be ready that we're going to have some of that going out there. And Dawn, if you don't mind, I'm going to do one right now. I usually wait for my competitions till later in the live stream, but can I sneak one out to them right now?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, you guys ready? Anybody ready for a competition right now? Okay, Zach is hilarious. And we got some new names out there too. Alice Pazzi, all the way in Italy, saying hello. It's good to see you, Alice. And Alan and Osama and IT Learner Jill and Tolowit, of course, and Patricia and everybody. I feel like I'm doing romper room here. Nobody knows what that means but me, but that's okay. Let's do a quick competition right now. We're going to do something based on basic Security Plus type questions. You ready? What does the CIA of security stand for? You got to write out each one of those. Whoever writes out all 3 of them first is going to win a free ebook for the Security Plus 601. Here we go. So there's always this stall here because everybody's typing like madmen right now, Dawn.
Yeah, we need the Final Jeopardy music.
Da, 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 da. Either that or they're all doing web searches. Okay, here they come. So Dawn, I believe it's confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Would you agree that that is the CIA of security?
I would agree.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, the first winner today of Dawn, this is probably going to be, you would literally be one of the first people in the world to get a copy of Dawn's book, and that goes to my buddy, Michael Reeves. Big round of applause to Michael Reeves. Well done, sir. You win a book. Now, Michael, in order to claim your book, you're going to have to send an email to Kathy Yale at our at Total Seminars. Scott will be putting that into the live chat. So it's Kathy Y at total7.com. Just tell her you won one of Dawn's books, and this is the Security Plus 601, guys. And seriously, you'll be, as far as I know, you're going to get even before the author does, for crying out loud. How amazing is that? So take advantage of that. Also, do keep in mind, guys, that for those of us who are unlucky enough not to win a book today, do keep in mind that we have this week's offer. This is for just this week. You get a free, this is my book, and it's the 501, free Security Plus ebook with the purchase of, it's free Security Plus ebook plus 50% discount on A+, Net Plus, and Security Plus practice questions. So you get the practice questions at 50% off, and we're going to throw in a 501 ebook. So you can get my book for free and then get Dawn's book for free. And then you can just sit there and go, I hold in my hands the 2 greatest IT security authors in the world. And you can tell your friends about that or your grandchildren. Anyway, so in order to take advantage of that deal, you just got to go to www.total7.com, go over to our merchant area, fill your cart with fat loot, and type in the code 120720 at checkout. And Scott Jernigan will have all those details there in the live chat for you. So we got one winner already, Dawn. This is what we do. Sorry, Dawn.
I'm just adding in one of the 2, best security authors in the world into my resume. I'm adding that, making a note. Mike Meyers said it must be the truth.
You're right, Dawn. If anybody gives you any trouble, you just tell them Mike Meyers said that. That reminds me that for the longest time, I'm not even going to detail this. Let's just say Wikipedia had an article about some basic PC architecture stuff, and they used me as a source, and it was a typo in my book. and that thing sat in there for years, and an editor would correct it, and then somebody would read a book and then go, oh, let me fix this, and they go back and fix it, and back and forth, and that went on for, I don't remember, Scott Jernigan, how long did that go on for? Like 8 years, I think it was. So you just tell them Mike Meyers sent you, Dawn, and we are good. All right. So, Dawn, the other thing that is happening right now is that people are going to be asking questions. So, oh, it is availability. I said availability, didn't I? Dawn, didn't I say availability?
I heard availabiliability. So
okay. So we got some pretty smart folks here, and they like to argue with me. And the bottom line is I win. It's good to be the king. So anyway, guys, we're gonna give away a lot more books today. I just thought it'd be fun before we get the bigger crowd in here to give you guys a quick shot. So Dawn, give me a moment. I'm going to scroll through here and see if we have any questions. So not quite yet. I got everybody shook now because we asked an early question. All right. Yeah, Michael, your class is covering it right now. There you go. Well done, sir. Okay, so guys, do keep in mind that even Dawn is going to be here hopefully till about 3, fingers crossed, and we'll just see what she can or can't do. But Dawn will try to stay here for a full hour. So do keep in mind that once Dawn takes off, we do have all the usual Ask Mike Anything questions. So if they're not directly Security Plus related, you might want to hang on to those until it's just me. Otherwise, I don't want to bore poor Dawn to death about Windows 10 product keys or A+y kind of stuff like that. Although, I think it's kind of cool. All right. Oh goodness, there's all kinds of stuff going on here that has nothing to do with Security Plus, Dawn. Don't worry about it. So that basically means that they're like, Mike, shut up and let the lady talk, which I will be glad to do. All right. So Dawn, I got to ask, I always hate when you go to a concert and you hear the musicians talking about how hard it is on the road, and the trials. It's like, I'm here to listen to music, not your problems. But with that in mind, because we're both authors of Security Plus, what hit you as some of the challenges on the Security Plus 601?
It's kind of inherent to the ever-changing environment that we're operating in. Certainly keeping the material up to date and fresh with the, kind of the way that the cybersecurity environment is changing. We're moving much more cloud focused, and so you're seeing a lot more content on cloud managed services being a much bigger focus area, and how to how do you deal with understanding the risk associated with a managed service provider or an MSSP, and measuring that and understanding what that means to your organization and the agreements that come along with that. So certainly, that's a constant challenge, and this particular book is no different. The objectives have been changed to really reflect how the field is changing. Some old standbys have gone, and lots of new content that reflects how we do business and how we operate certainly has been added. So as authors, we have to stay on top of those as well. Certainly, we're trying to give the best information possible to the reader, so we have to make sure that we're on top of our game as well. So that's just inherent to the business. And I know I speak for me, but I believe I speak for you, in that we have to stay on top of our game as well and do the best we can, no matter what book we're writing on. We have to be at the head of the game. So
oh, you're being way too nice, I think. Well, first of all, I love and I hate CompTIA at the same time, and I've always been one of their harshest critics, and I don't care because I think they need criticism from time to time. And when you speak to people at CompTIA on a one-to-one basis, they're usually pretty understanding of that. But like, I'll tell you one thing that killed me is, you're absolutely right, they brought a lot of cloud in, but there is a lot of cloud fundamentals that the Security Plus just assumes that they know. A lot of, and it's clearly all AWS in my opinion, that are unique proprietary terms to Amazon or maybe S3 and not necessarily industry terms.
That's very true. That's very true.
Well, for there's kind of a blessing when you're writing a passport or a quote unquote cram book, and and that is, you can just hit those objectives, right? Whereas these bigger books, which really require more of the description, I can't leave them hanging, right? So I end up having to backpedal and do a lot of backfill on stuff that I think wouldn't make sense in Security Plus, understanding cloud organization.
And I will tell you, I did quite a bit of that with this one as well. Some of the things I consider to be absolutely seminal to the field, very fundamental for someone to know. And if it was taken out, but I said, hey, I really feel like a candidate, in order to understand, Y has to understand X, I went ahead and left it in. I think it's important for you to have that information. If it makes the book a little bit longer, so be it. And if you're listening to this, or you're in the chat and you feel like you come across something that's not in the outline that's in the book, there's a reason for that generally. I just feel like you need to have that information before you can understand fully the concept. That's absolutely something that we saw with this particular outline. And you're absolutely right. There are some more proprietary terms that are on there that you may not necessarily, if you haven't worked in a particular environment, you may not have had access to that information before. So really, again, we do try our best to, without writing a Microsoft handbook or a Amazon handbook, try to get you the information you need for the exam. And it's definitely a challenge.
It is a challenge. And, especially if you haven't yet taken the Security Plus 601, and as an author, and all of a sudden I see certain questions, I was like, I did not really hit it that way. I mean, I hit the topic, but they're looking at it from top down and I'm looking at it from the left. And that can be a real challenge. Dawn, we got questions rolling in. I want to, people are doing some research on you here. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Dr. Dawn, what is the Army Material Command?
Oh boy. So the Army Material Command is so the U.S. Army's premier logistics supplier. I believe as the old saying goes, if a soldier eats it, flies it, wears it, at some point in time, it passed through Army Material Command from either a research and development perspective to a logistics and distribution perspective. So the headquarters is actually in Huntsville, Alabama, where I'm located out of here at Redstone Arsenal. And, just a group of wonderful soldiers, civilians, and contractors making sure that the warfighter gets what they need.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Dawn. I had a pretty good feel. I'm a bit of a military fanatic. If it rolls, floats, or flies in the air, I could talk to you about it. Probably far more than probably people should. I remember even as a little kid, I was really into tanks, even like the experimental tanks and all this stuff. And for years, I was the only person. And then this product came out 10 years ago, a game called World of Tanks. And now everybody's an expert on all these different tanks. It's absolutely hilarious. But Army Material Command was doing a lot refurbishing M1 Abrams tanks. Mm-hmm. And that's just where it came into. Whatever. Yep. Throw my 2 bits there. Oh, yep. More questions. Hang on. Where'd it go? Hold on. This is from my buddy Red TB3. Dawn, what would you say is the #1 benefit to getting the Security Plus certification for an entry-level tech?
For an entry level, someone who's, got a minimal or maybe got an IT degree or IT experience, but doesn't necessarily have a lot of security experience in the field or minimal, you're looking for a way to differentiate yourself from your peers. You're looking for a way to say, I've had the discipline to, study and take this exam and pass it successfully. And you know, this is something that I'm good at. You can trust me with your network. You can trust me with, you know, whatever capacity that you're planning to use on. And if you're wanting to focus on, you know, cybersecurity as your field, there are some handful of entry-level certifications. And I would just say that, you know, even the, you know, U.S. Department of Defense has identified the Security Plus as one that's, you know, rigorous and can help demonstrate that this person at least has a fundamental grasp of the concepts to be able to perform a particular job duty. So it just, you know, it does that. It helps you stand out. It shows that you've cared enough to go through the process and get the exam and the certification. And, you know, you choose this one, you choose another one, but, you know, it's just a good place to start.
No, I completely agree. As a matter of fact, because I hadn't done it a long time, I went to the DoD job site, which is ponderous, but actually just typed in, you know, IT security and then entry level. And I was shocked at the number of jobs that are available just within the DoD, where, you know, I'm not saying they're glamorous jobs. Okay. I mean, we're talking, you know, help desk support, you know, trying to figure out if there's a real security breach, and somebody who uses knowledgeware to then, you know, tell it to folks like you that we got troubles. And but there was a surprisingly large amount of job options for folks like that, and literally high school degree or equivalent. You know what I mean? So we about 2 months ago had my friend Jessica Dickerson on, and she did a big talk on how badly the IT security industry needs entry-level techs. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have her on. Be warned, guys, Jessica's coming back next week, and she's going to be coming loaded with ammunition going, here are the websites you must go to, and here is what you will do, and you'll probably get a job. And but that certification really, as I tell them all the time, Don, I go, certification by itself is never going to get you a job. The only thing certification does is it puts your name at the top of a stack of resumes, and it allows HR departments to filter out the types of people they're looking for. And it's absolutely critically important, and I couldn't have said it better myself. All right, any more questions? Oh, we do have another one. All right, so this is from my buddy Osama Mustafa. What is the, and it's kind of a wide open one. Good luck with this one, Don. What is the first thing I do to enter into security?
Oof. That is very individual. You know, again, I entered into it through education. Some people enter into it through an opportunity. You know, for example, the military kind of, you know, again, I have some experience with that. But the military, different organizations might have internships available. They help you with a degree, or they help you, you know, with certifications for in return for some time and experience with the job. So, you know, time and service with a particular position. Some people come into this from the military, for example, and have opportunities to get training and education through the military. And some people want to start with certifications. I've seen high school students. A great example of that is here in Huntsville. One of the high schools offers basically a major in cybersecurity to their students. And when they graduate from high school, they have a set of certifications that they will have completed, as well as curriculum, very focused curriculum in the field. So everyone starts at a different place. And again, kind of to circle back to a point I made previously, and that Mike kind of said, certifications are not going to be the only thing you can do. They certainly do help you get to the top of the stack of resumes that are being looked at. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
I was just going to say the next question is probably going to help answer his question with a little more direction. That's okay. All. So this is my buddy IT learner Jill. Dawn and Mike, in your opinion, what personal attributes make people the most successful in security? And then the second part to that is there a prevalent personality type?
Yeah.
I've got some opinions on this. I'm going to let you start.
I do actually have opinions on this also. So I have seen some of the best people I've worked with did not come from traditional technical backgrounds. I've seen
darn tootin', yes, ma'am.
I've seen great musicians. I've seen philosophy, for example, is understanding psychology of a human being. Is a great place that I've seen people start. The attributes I like to think of, when I've hired in the past, for example, I can teach you the security aspects, but I can't teach you to work hard. I can't teach you to have, a specific ethic. And and you can't teach someone to have the desire to want to continually learn. So previously talked about, how challenging it is to stay, at the top of the field, or try to anyway, to make the books as timely and relevant as possible. And that's the kind of mindset that you have to have in order to stay at the top of the field in general. You have to want to continually learn. Even at the highest levels, you have to be one of the people who reads constantly. You have to, maybe continue to study, maybe take extra classes. At the minimum, you're looking at everything you can get your hands on about current threat, current vulnerability. You're constantly ingesting information all the time. And those are, to me, the most important attributes, not necessarily your technical acumen. It's the desire to continually learn, the desire to work hard, and the desire to just be, kind of burning for the field. And so interested to hear your thoughts, Mike.
Well, mine are more philosophical, but are certainly tie in completely with what you're saying. To me, it's dedication, enthusiasm, and work ethic, which are surprisingly rare things, and extremely rare to see people with all three, in my opinion. And because it is the people who have those personality traits that do exactly the actions you're talking about. And so there's no controversy here at all, Don. It's people who do those types of actions they have the dedication, and they have the enthusiasm / drive / passion is the word that I like to use. And those things tend to happen naturally with those types of folks.
Agreed.
Yeah. How's that? How's that, IT learner, Jill? There is another question here. I lost it. Oh, here it is. It's my buddy Tolowit, who is just hanging out just a few miles from Schofield Barracks, by the way.
Very jealous.
Yeah, we are jealous. He shows off how pretty the weather is there. And I just scrolled and lost it. There it is. And Tolowit. And so because he's on Oahu, he's half camouflage anyway, just because he's around that much military. His question is, does Army cybersecurity fall under, SIGINT, ELINT, or is its own animal these days? Guys, SIGINT means signals intelligence, and ELINT is electronics intelligence. Mm-hmm. Dawn? All
yes,
right. Take it away, Dawn.
Well, wow. So understand I've been out of kind of working for the Army for a couple of years. So I do not claim to be the world's expert on what the Army does these days, but as it was when I sort of stepped away from it. Cybersecurity and the Army does tend to end up being a partnership between the more signals, the more traditional information assurance aspects that had been there, and then the intelligence community brings not only the signals aspects, but also there's a human element as well. And certainly the intelligence partnerships are critical to understanding the threat and the activity that's going on out in the wild blue yonder. And then there's also a third partnership that's critical, and that's the operational aspect. So the Army kind of G3, or operations leadership, really has a part to play in helping kind of understand where activities need to take place, helping empower through the operational chain of command. So it's not sitting out over here as a cool little capability or, good information and intelligence to have, but it's actually built into the larger framework of how the Army does business. So so that being said, it's really not falling under either of those things that you mentioned, but a combination, kind of a partnership between sort of different areas that the Army had already been conducting business, coming together to really to make cybersecurity everybody's business.
Excellent. It's always interesting. Of all the branches of the DoD, honestly, Army's the one that I've had the least exposure to. It's mainly been Navy and Air Force. I don't think there's a comm squadron in the U.S. that I haven't done some kind of work with. And
well, I will tell you, I am required by marital law to, because it is Army Navy game day week, to say go Army beat Navy.
Are they even playing?
Yes, they are playing at West Point this weekend.
Excellent. All right. I do enjoy the Army Navy game. It's always a fun one to watch. And do we have any standout talent on the Army this year?
They're a solid football team. I would say, if I had to say, the standout talent is our coach. I'm definitely afraid he's going to get snapped up at any point in time. He's an excellent man and an excellent coach. So, but we do have a great team. Fun to watch.
Excellent. All right. Well, we've got some more questions, but I want to give away some more books. Is that okay, Dawn?
Absolutely.
All right. Let's give away a book. And guys, I'm using simpler questions mainly because I don't want people typing out long, complex answers in the chat. Okay. So guys, we're getting ready. We're about to give away another one of Dawn's books. Need your hands on the keyboard. Here we go. You ready? It's an easy one. What term is used to identify email messages that attempt to trick users into revealing account or login information? Come on, that's a slam dunker right there, kids. Oh, you got a bunch of Go Armies, by the way, Dawn.
Ah, excellent people.
Oh my gosh. All right, IT learner Jill, even with the typo, I'm going to give it to you. Of course, it's phishing, and now we got a bazillion phishing. I'm going to have to give it to IT Learner Joe. IT Learner Joe, congratulations. You have won a free ebook of Dr. Dawn Dunkerley, Security Plus 601. IT Learner Joe, I know you've won in other competitions in the past. So the trick here is you just send an email to Kathy Y at total7.com. Let her know you're one of the winners today's Dawn's books. And Kathy will make sure that book gets to you. Do keep in mind, guys, that the books are not out yet, and it will probably be 1, if not 2 weeks before the book is actually delivered to you. So give us a little time on that. Elbow says, I couldn't spell. All right. So here's a question that's really kind of more for me, but you're welcome to chirp in, because I'd be curious if Alabama, this is a geography question more than anything else. And that is, what are the good states to work in? I can tell you right now, Texas is a great state to work in. And the number of people who've moved here in the last year alone would probably be an indicator of that. What's it like up there in Huntsville, Dawn, for IT work?
Huntsville's a great place to be. I almost hesitate to say how wonderful Huntsville is, because I don't want more people on the road to have to deal with. But no, Huntsville is a fantastic place. We have large Army presence. We have a NASA presence as well with Marshall Space Flight Center. Some of you may recognize that the U.S. Space and Rocket Center is here in Huntsville, in Space Camp. We have actually Blue Origin, that is the Jeff Bezos sort of rocket, space program. They build their rockets here in Huntsville. We have, kind of just a wide variety, large Toyota presence here in Huntsville as well. So it's a great, very technology focused city, not only from a military and government perspective, but also just more broadly, just technology. We have exceptional schools, great university here at University of Alabama, Huntsville, engineering focused institution. Obviously they do other things, but they have a world-class engineering program. So couldn't be a better place. Great cost of living. So
I've been to Huntsville many times. I love it there. Can old people go to space camp? Because I want to go. I'm a huge space nut, man. In fact, I'm actually wearing a increment shirt. This is ISS increment 51, and Melissa, the gal I'm dating, is a big NASA nut, and she's actually on. If you ever watch the NASA channel, excuse me, and you see this little brunette head, that's Wissa. She's actually at Mission Control. She's a flight controller for that.
Well, I can't promise you that you can go to space camp, but I will tell you we do have at the Space and Rocket Center, they do have a large building called the Davidson Center, which is just a big glass building that houses an actual rocket that you can walk around and under and see it. So it's very cool. The Saturn V, I'll be honest with you, this is one of those stump the chump things that I should know, but it's the Saturn V.
So, in that rocket park there in Huntsville, where all the rockets are standing up, I can name every one of those. I mean, I just write nerd and laundry pencil on my head right now, Dawn. I could probably give tours of Huntsville, including the Redstone Arsenal. I love Huntsville. Hey, if I come up after COVID, buy me a beer, okay?
I will. I will.
Nice. All right. It's scrolling so fast, Dawn, I'm having trouble. Bear with me a moment. Hang on, guys. You know this thing here. We gotta scroll sometimes. I'm digging for questions. Has Scott found any? So the fellow who asked about the SIGINT and ELINT wants you to know that he was a former Army HUMINT. Is that a human?
Yes.
Is that what that means? Human?
Human. Yeah, human intelligence. Yes.
Oh, okay. REM is going to take you Security Plus on Friday the 18th. Any advice on what to look out for? I can tell you a couple of things. Number one, be cool. The number one reason people fail CompTIA exams is test anxiety, always. So be cool, all right? Trust your training material, especially if they've come from me or Dawn. Well, not yet with Dawn, but hopefully I'm going to have you back in a few months and we can have all these people saying how they've passed Security Plus with your training materials, Dawn.
Right.
But be cool, all right? Watch the clock. I'm assuming you know how to take multiple choice exams, so I don't want to go into all that. Keep in mind that the performance-based questions are almost always packed at the very front of the exam. And if you're there at the very front, it's sometimes you can find yourself in a situation where you're taking way too much time on the performance-based questions and you forget the multiple choice. And you've got, I believe, 90 minutes for Security Plus.
I believe that's correct.
I think it is. And I've seen people spend 45, 50 minutes on performance-based questions, which in my opinion are the easiest questions on the exam. That's my opinion. And there's so many people who are like, 2 + 2 can equal 5 for very large values of 2. And I was like, don't do that. Keep it simple. And the other thing to keep in mind, and this is what really happens, especially this time of year when you're seeing the exam switch over, and that is CompTIA will put beta questions in the exam. These are ungraded questions.
Yes.
And in general, if you're seeing a question that is totally in left field, and they tend to put it towards the front to trip you up, is my opinion why they do that. And you start to see these questions and you're like, well, I've been studying here and that Mike Meyers training material, I never covered that. And then you and remember what the number one reason why people fail exams, and you lose your snap. So just be cool, right?
Yeah.
And take your time and try to answer those questions. But, keep in mind, they're probably not even graded, so don't sweat it. And, I do a good job, and I know for sure, Dawn, you actually did your book based on objectives, right?
I did.
Okay, so then I guarantee you Dawn's book will cover every single objectives. McGraw Hill tends to insist on that.
Oh, yes.
And much to my frustration. And you'll be fine but keep cool, trust your training, and you'll do great. That's the big thing. Dawn, is there anything to add beyond that, or?
No, I mean, your point about the beta questions is spot on. That tends to really freak people out. You see a question that you have no idea what it's about. Now, of course, you could have missed that content depending on how you studied, but it's also an entire possibility that it's a beta question that's not going to be graded. So do your best. Mike's correct about the performance-based questions can sometimes really take a longer time to think through. So make sure you pace yourself and trust. It's my experience, especially if you've studied and you've kind of used not to toot our horn at for our publisher, but if you're working with an organization like McGraw Hill, who we do, we are held to a high standard of making sure that we hit the objectives. So we've covered the material. Trust me, we have editor after editor after editor that makes sure that we cover the material. And that's good, because that makes sure you shouldn't be in that situation. To Mike's point about trusting the training material, we're not infallible. Mike may be at this point, but I certainly am not infallible.
I bought an eraser once.
Yeah, right. He never used it, but he bought one. But a lot of times what people do that, in my experience, it trips them up is they start second guessing themselves. Oh, as Mike's point, 2 + 2. Well, what if in this one situation ends up being 5. If your gut tells you, well, I believe the training material said that this would be the answer to that, don't allow yourself to spend the time or the mental energy second guessing yourself over that answer. Generally, your gut is right in that particular situation. So spend the time, go through it. But if your gut tells you one thing, it's probably accurate. My experience.
I agree. So Michael Reeves is asking, is it difficult as a civilian to get into the government sector?
It was, it can be, because I will be honest that the way, and Mike had mentioned he had been looking on the DoD jobs kind of website and looking to see kind of how that all works and how applying for a job works. If you haven't ever applied or you're not familiar with how the government uses their systems to try to pick the applicants, it can be a little frustrating. You can have the best resume in the world, but if it doesn't meet the right keywords, if it doesn't contain the criteria that helps them sort through the potentially hundreds or more resumes that come through, it can be very frustrating, especially if you're highly qualified and you can't seem to make the cut. So understanding the process is definitely a challenge. You have to, for each individual job posting, you have to very carefully make sure that you meet the criteria, and you have to essentially apply for every job. It's not I have a really good resume, I send it in and hope for the best. You really have to make sure that you answer the questions within the particular posting, and make sure that you use the appropriate keywords that they're looking for, and hope for the best.
I agree. So I have a question for you, Dawn. Does NIST have any practical, maybe not day to day, but quarter to quarter impact in your life?
Yeah, actually, even not kind of working in the government sector anymore, I see a lot of commercial clients and even some international clients who are using the either the RMF framework or the cybersecurity framework as the basis for their security program. It's a completely public standard. You can go pull it up and use it to your heart's content as a framework to help you kind of build your security program. So absolutely, I see it all the time. Clients who are interested in kind of improving their security program and seeing where they rack and stack against the one of the frameworks. So
I got in big trouble because the RMF guys, that stands for Risk Management Framework. It's a way to think about the organization of your how you're dealing with risk. We'll leave it at that. Get me or Dawn's book and we'll talk all about RMF. Anyway, I didn't realize that NIST had updated it. And my copy editor is kind of like, Mike, I'm looking at your description of the risk management framework and I'm pulled down. How's this for a copy editor? I think we had the same one. Let's just say his name starts with a B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
Yeah, he
and
doesn't
he
let you slip for nothing. No.
and he pulled down the current NIST RMF and he's like, gotta disagree with you here. And I'm like, damn, he was absolutely right. Who'd have thought that they would change like the core number of bubbles in a circle, and they did. Yeah, so I got a little embarrassed on that one. And so that was the other big challenge for me, Dawn, is that, I'm a screwdriver technician, okay? If I'm not typing in a keyboard or, turning a Phillips screwdriver or snapping in RJ45s, I'm not that interested. And it was a painful experience for me to start dealing with concepts like risk management. That's for the suits, but it's not, right? I mean, it's
really not. In fact, it's not only, let me just back up and say that's one of the beauties of the field, going back to kind of where we started talking about why did I end up in this field and why have I continued to work in it. There's really a home within security for everyone, from the people who are really interested in the hardware and the aspects of security that might be more technology oriented, to the people who are, and I've seen them, it might make some of you, bland to a little, but there are people who, really love policy and really love, going through and doing compliance. And it's necessary for all of us to have that, those roles are really locked down tight. So you're not going to have a robust cybersecurity program with just the technology. You have to have the people and the processes also sorted out. So I appreciate the people who are, going and making sure that you're compliant with, the risk management framework, and, that you have done all the patching and all the scanning, because that's certainly a vital part of it, just like the people who are making sure the technology is sound as well.
Yeah, and if you give it a chance, and this is the thing I'm going to point at you guys who are studying Security Plus, because a lot of you guys are screwdriver techs like me, and you're just like, this is like what we used to have on the A+, where it's like how to talk to customers and stuff. It's like, look, I'm kind of Aspergery. I don't want to do that part, right? But if you take the time, guys, to really get into, risk assessment, risk management, however CompTIA wants to put a level 1 head on that anymore, it's actually fascinating. But you got to give it a chance. As technicians, I understand we'd rather be, SSHing into a router and configuring firewalls or whatever, setting up OSPF. But the real power of IT security is understanding is governance an okay word there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And taking the time to learn it. And no offense, but they make more money than we do. So keep that in mind.
It's really important, just to kind of put a bow on it. Real change will not be affected until the leadership is involved and is really bought off on the concepts that you're trying to get across, and the strategy, quite frankly, the cyber strategy that you're looking to put forward. You can do, maybe incremental change if you don't have the senior leadership within an organization really bought off and working actively with you. But a big part of getting them involved and engaged is being able to communicate the risk and help them understand how it affects the business in a way that makes sense, and they helps them want to spend money and add resources and do all those things that are necessary to really fundamentally or make sweeping change. Sometimes in some cases are needed. So absolutely, the risk management portion of it, while some people think it's the most boring thing on the planet, is so important, because it will facilitate all those other things that are needed within the organization.
Absolutely. It really will. I got to tell you, I don't know very many CEOs who don't have at least a bachelor's degree. I know a lot of chief information security officers who came up through the ranks,
Mhm.
mainly because they were this one motivated tech who did exactly what you're saying, Dawn, you know, talking to management and getting them up to speed, and, they get promoted up. And I don't know. I don't know about you, but is making more money offensive?
It's not offensive, and certainly not. But however, I would say, again, some of the best and finest people I've come across in the field may not have the degrees, may have a degree, but in something completely unrelated. But they had, as you talked about previously, the passion and the work ethic to really to do what it takes. And I love to see the CISOs who have come up and did used to crawl under the floor and pull cable, and I like to see that. I like working with those people.
CISO?
CISO.
I'm unfamiliar with that abbreviation.
That's how I pronounce it. I
Okay.
hear all things.
So I when I was a little kid, I was always studying this military history, and during World War II, there was a very famous battle, the Battle of Guadalcanal. I don't know if people know about it or not. It was the first big battle that the Americans won. Bottom line, I had been studying for so many years and never talking about these words. And I got up and gave this big impassioned speech about how important the Battle of Gargantua was. So yeah, we got in a little trouble with that one. Okay, so that's why I'm always, when I hear a phrase I don't know, Dawn, I'm always hitting it up. We have a couple more questions. Guys, do keep in mind, we've only got, Dawn, I will literally keep you on here as long as I can. There will be a certain point you're going to have to go, Mike, I got to go. But I'm going to keep, and we get a lot of great questions here too. But
I do appreciate it. If I need to come back, I'm glad to. I do have a hard stop in 9 minutes. So
all right.
Then, folks.
Okay, well, let's, Red TB3 has a great question. In fact, I'd be curious to know the answer to this one myself. Dr. Dawn, you mentioned reading about the latest security issues in one of your answers. Mm-hmm. What are some good starter materials, blogs, websites, whatever to read?
Right. Well, I will tell you.
I'm going to be taking notes.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what I do, and I love it. I swear by it. I actually use an RSS reader. You may have heard of Feedly. I don't know if they have a paid version. I apologize. I have the business version that I use for other purposes. But if you go into RSS reader like Feedly, this is not a paid advertisement for Feedly, by the way. I wish they would give me a cut on my fees, but no, they don't. But what I actually do is I go in there, and if I come across a blog, anything from the Register, for example, to something like Bruce Schneier's blog.
Whoa. Bruce who?
Schneier. The cryptography, and if I'm mispronouncing his name, sir, I'm very sorry.
How do you spell it?
SCHNEIER, I believe.
Okay, that's close enough.
There are some Bleeping Computer, for example, is one that I like. I do dark reading, but I actually go into an RSS reader. A lot of times I'll have already pre-populated a security or cybersecurity list of popular blogs. And then almost every morning I go through and read, what's gone on in the last day from a headline perspective. And that really allows you to cut through the noise. You get a large amount of volume reading. You don't necessarily get redundancy. You get to see, for example, if a ransomware attack happened in a certain place, you get to focus in on an article on that particular ransomware attack, move on to the next article, maybe about why compliance is dead, and some other person's opinion. But you get a lot of really varied opinions, and using an RSS reader really allows you to not necessarily jump around different websites, but to have it all sort of consolidated in one place. So that's my recommendation.
So I actually do. I listen to both Bleeping Computer and Dark Reading because I just always think they're interesting. But those are both blogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and,
I do.
And they tend to be very obviously they make money off of advertisements. So if you like a blog and you want to support them, definitely don't just stick to the RSS reader. Go to the blog, make sure you support them as well. They need to put food on the table also, but that's just sort of my approach to it, is try to get it all in one place, and then go to the particular stories I find most relevant or interesting.
Cool. Thank you very much. That's always a challenge for, anybody, because you're always curious, what are other people listening to? And I think those are great recommendations. I certainly do the register quite a bit. They're very, what's the word I want to use when talking about the register?
Pithy.
I'm sorry?
Pithy. They're
Pithy.
Very witty.
Yeah, there we go. So fun to read. I do not know who Bruce Schneier is. I will check him out though, and make me a little bit smarter as we go. I can't believe Scott Jernigan actually just straight up mentioned our copy editor by name. So Bill's a great guy. Okay, guys. Oh, we only got a few more minutes. I'll just really quick. All right, let's do another competition. I like doing it. They're more fun when you're here, Dawn, because you're the author, right? And So all right, let's do another one.
Normally, I would tell everyone if you get a print copy and you don't like it, you can use it to kill a bug. But with the ebook, I can't help you with that.
Like with my A+ book is like this thick,
right.
And I'm like, well, you can change the tire with it.
There you go.
All right, you guys ready for another easy question? Here we go. Quick. You ready? Another easy question, like really easy. Ready? Okay, let me get scrolled up here so I can see people just coming in here. Fingers on keyboards. This will be a quick one. How many bits is an IPv6 address? See, I get a bit of a stall here, Dawn, so Scott Jernigan. Okay, boom, instant winner. Here we go. All right, and the winner is, these YouTube names are sometimes scary. I'm always afraid I'm like that okay boomer who doesn't know about certain aspects of current. It's Nitin, Nitin Baines. So big round of applause to you, Nitin Baines. You are now the third winner today of Dawn's Security Plus 601 Passport book. So in order to take advantage and get that book, you need to send an email to kathy.y@total7.com. Let her know you're one of the winners, and Kathy will most certainly have that out to you as soon as it's out, because it's not quite out yet. Scott Jernigan will put all that details in there for you so that you can check that out. Oh, by the way, Dawn, Scott Jernigan is literally putting the URLs for all these different things up on the so.
Thank you. Thanks, Scott.
Scott does a great job. Scott's been working for me for like 20 years now, and every time I fire him, he's like, yeah, shut up. All right, Nigel, you want the new book? I'm going to give away quite a few more here, so just be ready to answer the questions, and we will definitely give everybody a shot at it. So that looks like looks pretty good. One more here. Okay, one more question.
Okay.
All right. This is from Kevin Lopez, 2:56 p.m. Is it more lucrative to do contracting security work or to work for a company?
I would say that's a tough question. It depends on what you define lucrative to be. Some people value job security and value the benefits that come with being employed full-time by a company. And then some people value maybe the flexibility and kind of getting to change up and do different things on a daily basis by contracting or consulting. So that's, if you're valuing money over else, certainly it's highly dependent on, are you talking military? Are you talking large businesses? Certainly consulting or contracting might give you more money, but not necessarily the benefits that come along with being a full-time employee. So I would say, again, that's a very highly personal question, depending on what you're looking for out of kind of your job experience.
Yeah, people often say, well, Mike, how much do you charge for consulting? And I go, well, I charge, $3,000 a day. But the question you have to ask me is, how many days a year do I get that kind of pay?
Exactly.
So that's always a big challenge.
Right.
There's something about a health plan, especially in today's day and age, that I find extremely attractive.
Extremely attractive.
Yeah. Yeah. Be an employer. Well, you hang your own shingle now, right?
I do.
Yeah. How's that? How's your health insurance monthly rate there, Don?
I will tell you, I am very fortunate.
You're married to the Army.
I have military insurance.
I'm getting married to somebody in the Army.
Okay,
do you have any girlfriends or anything I could? Yeah.
When you come up to Huntsville and we do that beer, we'll take you out and see what happens.
Perfect. I'm not pretty, but I can talk and I can dance.
Good to know. Good to know.
Well, listen, Don, thank you so much. It's 3:00 straight up, and I know you said it was a hard stop, so I'm not going to bug you anymore. But thank you so much for coming on. Everybody's very excited. I think you are going to be the first Security Plus 601 book out there. You're going to be first to market. So, round of applause to you. And that it's also going to show up in this as well. But yeah, first to market's a big deal with books, and congratulations to you, man. It's a tough thing.
This is where I plug those excellent editors we talked about previously, including Bill, for keeping me on my toes. So,
hey, listen, guys, especially those of you who actually get Dawn's book, please go on Amazon and give her a great review. Amazon reviews are really, really important, and we would greatly appreciate it if you find Dawn's books up there now. Delivery for in a month or so, but please give a good review. It just makes a big difference and really helps us out. So, Dawn, thank you so much. Are you willing to come back sometime?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Dawn, you have a great day. Thanks again for all the wonderful stuff. And I'm going to keep giving away some of your books if you don't mind.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, it's just us now, kids. And we do have some more books to give away. I'll tell you what. Kevin Lopez, military wife, just added to my bucket list. Wait, Mike is getting married. Will he live stream it? No and no. All right. I thought Dawn was amazing. I got to tell you, guys, I don't know if you noticed, but a few years back, she did a TED Talk. TEDx talk, and I think Scott had actually put her TEDx talk in there. It's mainly more for users as opposed to security experts, but it's a great talk, and I recommend you watch it if you have an opportunity. Wonderful, wonderful gal. Yeah, Axe is like, now the shenanigans begin. Absolutely. Sean McLaughlin was going to type something, and then he deleted it, so that's always dangerous. All right, so where do we want to go here? First of all, I got some housekeeping we've got to deal with here, guys. The first thing I want to talk about is on Monday, we were doing a command line interface to pull up the product key for Windows 10. And after a little bit more R&D, well, first of all, I noticed for a lot of people, it wasn't working for them. And I was like, they're doing something wrong, run administrative mode, whatever. Ends up here at Total Seminars, it wasn't working for some of us either. And what it seems to be is that particular piece of code is trying to pull up the original like OEM product key, as opposed to either you installed it or you did an upgrade. So I'm going to withdraw my support of that particular piece of code. And Andre, I have not got a chance to run your code yet. I apologize. I will get to it. He had sent me a Visual Basic code, which I have not run. And now it's a matter of going through the registry and trying to figure out where can we find that code. Anyway, the bottom line is what I can tell you is that as Scott, if you can put this up for me, the utility called produkey, P-R-O-D-U key, seems to work across the board for anybody. And I would, as I most certainly said, if you don't have I know I still call it CD key, but I'm old. If you don't have your product key and you have to reinstall Windows, you've got trouble. So make sure you have that. And the NearSoft are the folks who make that, and it's and it's free and it works great. I've just been running it again and it's absolutely fabulous. So let's just go with that one. Also, the other thing that I want to talk about is that, God, who did, I think it was Mr. Meeseeks found a tech tip that he was questioning. And Scott and me and Dave Rush and Michael Schneier, we all kind of dug in and started looking at this. And basically, that tech tip is no longer valid. So thank you, Mr. Meeseeks, for even finding that. Mr. Meeseeks, are you on today? Yeah, you are. I see you. Mr. Meeseeks, I'm going to give you one of Dawn's new ebooks just as a thank you for catching that. Anyway, the bottom line is, Mr. Meeseeks, in the time that since that tech tip was developed, both storage spaces and SSD technologies have moved on and it's no longer valid. So Mr. Meeseeks, round of applause to you. Thank you so much for bug checking the book. And I would like to give you a free copy in order to, of the Security Plus 601 book. In order to get that, of course, you would need to send an email to kathy@totalsem.com. Scott will put that up there for you so that you can take advantage of that. Cool. Also, Scott Jernigan put the link to her book on Amazon. So those of you, and I can't stress this enough, how important it is. The other thing I'm going to stress to you that I'm starting to learn is that it's really, really important. If you can subscribe or at least follow the Total Seminars channel, we're going to start using that for announcements and things. You definitely might want to do that. And then secondly, God, I sound like every YouTube video I've ever watched in my life. If you like this video, click on that like button. And if you don't like it, click on the dislike. Those likes really help add up, and we sure do appreciate that support. Okay, I'm done YouTubing, but seriously, if you could do that, I'd sure appreciate that. All right. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Looking for questions, guys. Like, share, subscribe, click that bell. There you go. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Okay, so we still have some questions coming in. Osama Mustafa is asking, make sure I'm not missing anything here. Osama Mustafa, what are your tips for CompTIA A+? Well, Mustafa, the first step is get good study materials. There's lots of people who provide good study materials for the CompTIA A+. I'm kind of partial towards mine. For most people, they find the best success is to have videos, a book, and practice questions. That is the triumvirate that I can tell you will make the most chances of success. Can you do it without videos? Sure. Can you do it without a book? Sure. Can you do it without practice questions? Yeah, probably not. The practice questions really make a big deal. And the second thing you're going to want to do is you're going to have to set about study time. And one of the things I've discovered that's always a good idea is to go ahead and put your money down and schedule your exams. If you need to schedule them 3 months in advance, whatever it is, go ahead and schedule them. By scheduling it, it creates pressure. Look, I'm not a real disciplined person. I'm a procrastinator. I know Scott Jernigan's right now going, really? I'm a procrastinator. And so heat and pressure make diamonds. And to have that date in the future, and that's going to help motivate you to study in a proper way. And then that would be the big start for that one, Mustafa, more than anything else, doing those things. 305 VPW, that's a new name. Hey, VPW. What is the best way to study if you're taking the 1002 Core 2 exam first? I'm aware that this is not recommended, but it's been a while since I thoroughly studied the Core 1 objectives. If it's been a while, that means you've been studying already. If you were using my training materials, the big thing I would push to you more than anything else is that use the practice questions first to help get an idea of where your weak spots are. That would be the first thing I would do. And then with that, if you're using my training materials, pardon me, if you're using my training materials, then the next thing I'd be doing is I would look at the practice questions that you're getting wrong and using the chapter references for either the book or the video, since they both track to the chapters, to help you study in those particular areas. I don't think it's a horrible idea to take the 1002 before the 1001. They're pretty separate. I wouldn't recommend it, but I don't think that's the worst thing you could do. But that's what I would definitely be doing more than anything else. And the reason I'm saying that is I assume you have some amount of experience with A+, or at least the topicalities, and that's what I would do. Practice questions. Jason Helms, is that a key you can just give out? What you talking about, Willis? If we're talking about the product key, no, that is the critical 25 character number that allows you to activate Windows. You do not give it out. They are unique. And if you try to use one on one system, then you use it again on another system. Yeah, I would say that you're in big trouble. You don't want to do that. Keep a copy of your product key. I usually will try to. I will make a recovery disk. It's basically just a Windows install disk. You can make that within Windows, and I'll take either I'll label it or just piece of tape and put it on that key, and then I've got the product key on physically the thumb drive that I'll use to rebuild it. And 245, I missed one. I'm sorry, Michael Reeves. What besides user error would you say is the biggest risk for an organization? Lack of developing an IT security framework. To just react to security issues is probably the biggest problem. Not recognizing that you need to plan ahead of time to look at your enterprise as a whole, to use things like the NIST risk management framework to help develop a understanding of your vulnerabilities and the security controls that you need to apply to your particular business. All businesses are different. They're all different. And while certain things like, for example, user error could be common to a broad cross section of them, in some areas that risk is much greater than others. And that's why we spend a lot of time looking at our business, our enterprise, and taking advantage of tools like NIST's risk management framework or the ISO 27002, don't hold me to that one, as a way to plan and to go, wow, I never really thought about that risk or this risk. And that would be the bigger thing, because people don't plan. VPW, what do you recommend to be best prepared for the performance-based questions? Purchasing the Mike Meyers Total Sims, especially if we're selling them at 50% off. I think our simulation questions are very good. And while we never give away an actual question from the CompTIA exams, we try to mimic look and feel as best we can. And I'd really recommend those. Dawn already talked about some of the other stuff, and I did too, not spending too much time. And the other thing to keep in mind, most of these questions are ridiculously simple. I mean, ridiculously simple. And people are looking for all this complexity in these performance-based questions. And most of the time, they're literally the easiest questions on the exam. Maven Feliciano, 309. So Mike, so what if that code does work showing the key? Would it always be a valid key, or if it's upgraded, would it show the original key and that could be used instead? It's interesting because with that command line and having these different issues involved, the other thing that might be happening here is that people are buying upgrades and they're looking at a different key. In my experience, as long as you're not buying a new version of Windows, and that world seems to be fading out fairly quickly, that key will absolutely work. I mean, if that key came with Windows 10 and you've been using that Windows 10, even though you've upgraded it a zillion times, it will continue to work, and it will work. Zach Morrill, I have a question. Hopefully next week I will be doing my A+ Core 2 next week. Good. Well, I will be when my exam voucher comes. Anyways, I get the A+. What do you recommend? All right, Zach, I'm assuming everything's cool with you taking the exam. When I get the A+, what are your recommendations on how to get a job? Zach, you come back next Wednesday. We're going to have Jessica Dickerson on here. And in fact, tell your friends that she's going to give a very practical discussion on how to go onto certain websites. She taught me a lot of stuff I didn't even know happened. We had a nice conversation today. I'm like, you've got to get on here and tell people simple little practical things. LinkedIn has amazing tool sets for helping people to get jobs that nobody even seems to touch. I mean, nobody has a problem throwing up a resume, but you can do a lot more than that. Where was the other one she was a big fan of? I think it wasn't Indeed. I'm not going to put words in her mouth, but obviously what you want to do is get to work. And we're going to be talking about where to look. And she's going to be concentrating on people who are starting out and some of these sources that I'd never even considered before. So we're not just telling you to go to LinkedIn and Indeed or whatever it is, but she's going to go a lot deeper than that. And you can't miss it. It's an absolute gotta show up kind of thing. And that's all I can tell you, because we're going to spend an entire session just doing that. So I'm going to defer that question for a little bit. I'm AI. Well, that would explain the guy with his hand on my back. Looking for questions. 3:11 p.m. Sean McLaughlin. I'm scheduled to take both A+ on next Sunday. Always a good idea. I like taking them both at the same time. Do you think that this is a less optimal idea, doing them on the same day? Sean, I've always taken both exams on the same day. Not only on the same day, but literally one after the other. The only downside, and this is a downside, is that let's say you take the 1001 and fail. You can get deflated when you take the next exam. Don't be deflated. You just retake the whatever exam you took first, but keep your good energy up and take the second exam. The positive side is that I discover a lot of people who are especially like listening to me, not just buying my stuff and disappearing. People who are listening to me or send me emails or listening on these live stream tend to be pretty good studiers, or at least they're pretty serious minded. And I find for most people that they find the A+, if you're well studied, to be pretty darn easy. So that's been my experience. Edward, Mike, there are many activators for Windows 10 with CMD code on Google. Are they okay? There are many activators for Windows 10 with CMD code. Edward, I'm not sure what I'm not familiar with the term activators in that context. Try again, man. It's okay. Just type it in one more time. I will answer it. 3:12 p.m. Walter Wuvala. That's a good Irish name right there. Mike Meyers studies and helped me pass the CompTIA+ exam. Congratulations to you. Big round of applause to you, Walter. After studying the lectures, going through the practice questions, I was so confident I will pass even before taking the exam. Woo! Okay, well, it worked for you, Walter. I'm always the person who says never be overconfident, but I appreciate that it worked for you. Congratulations. VPW, follow-up questions. What specific lab hands-on exercises and experience do you recommend? Okay, so specific lab, so forget the word experience. Let's talk about specific hands-on exercises. I actually do have a lab manual that goes out with A+ and Network Plus. We don't do it for the Security Plus. But most of those lab manuals are more designed for an instructor-led scenario. I have found that if we're talking about a command line command, we'll get on a computer and try it. If we're talking about pieces of hardware, I'm assuming you got a computer around. Take a look at it. Technology changes so quickly and so aggressively that I find it very difficult to generate. Here's Mike's exercises for da da da. You can do that with things like iOS because the core command line hasn't changed in 15 years, more than that. So you can get away with stuff like that. But especially for A plus, that can be very, very difficult to do. Whatever we're talking about, find a computer and do it. Well, I don't have a computer. Well, go get a computer. Here in the US, there's all kinds of like local people giving away computers and stuff like that. Everybody has the one computer that they get on the internet with and they check their email and those kinds of things. Don't jack with that computer, guys. Please don't do that. You'll be sad, especially if you're doing A plus hardware. You start yanking out PCIe cards and things go a little south, as we say. So, looking for used equipment, especially with laptops. I'm a big believer that everybody should dismantle a laptop as part of A plus. And we have things like Craigslist here in the United States and things like that, where I can find people selling stuff for little or no price. Find a little mom and pop computer store and say, do you have any junk you want me to cart away for you? Just to be able to pull CPUs in and out with safety and things like that. We call that ooh ah, things that don't work, but we can look at them and go ooh ah, that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. 314, Ryan Hempkin. Hi, Mike. I emailed you, but haven't had a reply. Just waiting sure I have the right email. Ryan Hempkin. Oh, Ryan, I get almost 400 emails a day, buddy. So I got to warn you that sometimes I miss emails, and I apologize for that. Here, Ryan, I'll put it up for you. Ryan, that's my email. Please just resend. My apologies for not responding to you on a timely basis. I try very, very hard, but I do miss them from time to time. And again, I apologize for that. All right, let's give away another book. What do you say? I've only given away 4 books so far. Da, da, da. All right, here's a question that you guys might have to think about for a minute. You guys ready? This is not an easy question, but it's an interesting one. Which of the following access control models use labels and security clearances to grant access to objects or resources? All right, so these are access control models. I'm going to leave it right there for a minute. We'll see if we got a ringer in here who can get this. Oh, Ryan Hempkin, I do remember you now. No. Connor, you're hilarious. Remember, it's an access control model that uses labels and security clearances. Those are 2 big clues. Oh, wait, we got one already. I didn't even see it. Hold on, let me make sure. Da-da-da. All right, Andy STL. Andy STL, that's right. It's a mandatory access control. Andy, congratulations to you. You have won a copy of Dawn's Security Plus 601 ebook. That's the 5th book we've given away today. We'll give away a few more. Congratulations to you. In order to get your book, you have to send an email to Kathy Yale, Kathy Y at totalsem.com. Send her an email. Tell her you're one of the winners for today. And she will arrange. Do keep in mind, it could take 1, maybe 2 weeks before the books actually get out there and get started. We got more books to give away. But my buddy Ryan Hempkin did have a question, and I certainly thank you for reminding me that I did receive that. I thought you sent it to me through LinkedIn, but whatever, it's not important. Mike, I am in the UK. I have 2 small children. Okay. and I'm looking to start a home PC build repair workshop, and I'm looking for some hints and tips. Thanks, Mike. Love the channel. Okay, number one, and here's the hard one, Ryan. Do it. Just do it. Well, Mike, I'm not qualified. I have imposter syndrome. What if something goes wrong? Okay, well, just do it. Start, I always make the line that says, make your customers friends, don't make your friends customers. In this case, it's not true. Because I can guarantee you, Ryan, you're already giving it away. Probably are. Oh, Ryan works on that. Well, you're gonna have to sit there. The UK is a little different, but here in the United States, we usually at the state level we have to set up a what's known as a doing business as, or a DBA. So for taxation reasons, set that up, and then go out and buy 1,000 cheap business cards with your name and phone number and email address on it, and start passing those out. Use what I call the 3-foot rule. If you're within 3 feet, pass them out. Notice what I didn't say, Ryan. Did I say go buy a bunch of testing equipment? Go buy spare parts? No, no, no. You don't need anything. Go buy some number 2 screwdrivers, Phillips screwdrivers. Yeah, that would be about it. And you'll start picking things up, a can of air, things like that. But don't buy anything. Just get out there and start helping. Find out what people in your area are charging for help. Okay. So in order to do that, you have to call local PC repair companies and ask, so I want to bring in my computer. I think how much is it going to cost? And they'll tell you. They'll say, well, it's a minimum service charge of 100 pounds and then 25 pounds an hour or something like that. Undercut them. Sell them for less. Pick a number. And you're going to sit there the first time, you're going to go, well, I'm not worth 23 pounds an hour. You are. Just do it. Do it. But Mike, what if I screw up? So you screw up. People screw up all the time. You end up, look, man, I'm sorry. We did this. Come up with some work agreement that basically goes and make sure they sign it and go, look, if you have any data on here, I could destroy it. Probably chances are very small, but I could, and I'm not going to be liable for it. If you want to pay me to do a backup, I'll do a backup for you before we do anything else, but I'm going to charge you for that backup. And then you do the work, whatever the work is. Look, 95% of most small mom and pop type work is just getting rid of malware. So, pick whatever malware tool you like and have that on a thumb drive so you can boot to the thumb drive and clear malware. That's going to be most of the work that you're going to be doing. In terms of system building, that's a lot trickier. We go through phases in our society where sometimes it's cheaper to build your own systems and sometimes it's cheaper to buy pre-made systems. It is very much cheaper to buy pre-made systems right now. So the only markets you're going to be looking for and stuff like that are gamers and things like that. And most gamers want to do their own building. So there's not much business in being a PC builder. It's like being a automotive hot rod company. There's just not a lot of call for it, but there's a lot of call for repair. Because do keep in mind, the main reason that people want to fix stuff is not because of the expense of the system. It's because of how precious the data is. And you need to be working on, have some type of backup on a Windows system, that type of stuff. If you're not a Mac person, don't touch Macs. Just stay away from them. If you're not a Linux person, stay away from Linux. You're just not there yet. Stick with Windows. It's the predominant desktop operating system in the world, and just go for it. I've destroyed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of equipment in my career. I had a piece of paper that somebody signed that said I'm not liable for it either. So, do keep that in mind, and you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine, and you'd be surprised. Start with your mother, then your mother's brother, then your mother's brother's plumber, and if somebody is within 3 feet of you, you're handing them a card. And how's that for an answer and a half, huh? Zach, I'm sorry that it's buffering, buddy. Like I said, these contests aren't necessarily fair, but I try to do what I can. Looking for some more questions. Canned air. What a weird world we live in. Canned air. Absolutely. Dun, 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 dun. Scott, am I missing anything? Oh, I am. Okay, so Red TB at 251. Oh, I did miss that one. Sorry, Red TB3. What advice do you have for techs coming through the ranks starting out at above 45 years old? Nothing really special. I mean, the only thing I'll tell you is don't act old. And trust me, I'm pushing 60. I know the feeling. And it's really easy for me to tell you, well, back in my day, don't do that, because I actually make when I talk about historical PC stuff, I intentionally use my old man voice so that I remind myself that I'm boring the tears out of younger techs. They generally don't care, and it pigeonholes you as an old person. Have a lot of energy. Take advantage of the stuff that being older works for you. Number one, you understand what it means to be at work on time, which is a shockingly rare thing to see in today's society. Be true to your word. Those are the important things. Also, keep in mind that if you're 45, you've been doing something, unless you've been sitting in a pub all that time. So you have some amount of skill set. Take advantage of that. If you've been a electrician, then do computing with electricity. When I say that, I mean like home automation or something like that, where people are wiring up smart switches or something like that. If you're a trucker, there's all kinds of trucking companies, maintenance companies, things like that need IT support. There's software out there which needs people with that level of experience. So don't just throw away 20 plus years of experience because you want to get in IT. Get into IT, but use that experience you've had to help you move forward, and you'll be fine. The IT industry is very comfortable hiring older people for entry-level work. Da-da-da-ba-da-bum. IT learner Jill. All right, thank you, Scott. I seem to be missing questions there. I apologize. How do you make sure you're always thinking outside the box in IT? Why do you want to think outside the box? So IT learner Jill, I'm assuming what you're trying to say is when I'm exposed to a problem and I can't solve it, how do I think outside of what I would assume the problem would be and go with it? The answer is pretty simple. I would say that maybe 10%, maybe 15% of the problems I run into, I obviously know what the answer is, and I'm going to just start working on it without thinking. I would say another 50 to 60%, or else I'm pretty sure I know what the problem is from my experience, but I'm still going to go online and research it. You guys have a huge benefit that I didn't have when I started out, and you have the internet. And the internet has changed IT support in such a big way, because what you don't want to be is on the bleeding edge of technology. You want to be, what you would want is have your Star Trek transporter and have, 2 or 3 other brother or sister nerds who have had the same problem standing right next to you and going, oh, no, Jill, press that, right? I mean, that's what we're talking about. And so people think using the internet is like some loser thing. I always go to the internet unless it's super obvious. I mean, like hyper obvious. I'm always going onto the internet, even if I'm pretty sure I know what it is, because I like to double check things, or maybe something new's happened, or a new driver came out, or there's been a Windows update or whatever. And yeah, you always use the internet. Um, you kids don't know how good you got it, because even when the internet was around, we didn't have all these wonderful smartphones. And now with smartphones, I've always got a device that's always going to be online. I can pull up a browser and do some testing on it. So I don't want you to think outside the box. I want you to think inside the box and take advantage of those people who are out there who have had the same experience. The internet is our friend, and it is normal and right and good for you to use that. What are some I never want to get stuck in my ways. Okay, well, I got to tell you, that is a problem, and that is what I call flatliners. And to me, probably the best way to not be stuck in your ways is when you begin finding joy in particular hardware or particular operating systems or particular routers, whatever it is, there is a fixed cost of participation. I always jump on the latest version of Windows. I'm always grabbing the latest distro from Ubuntu. I'm always grabbing the latest and greatest Soho router. And I know a lot of techs who have like little buying groups where it's just friends of theirs. And like Bob's like, hey, man, I'm going to get this, but hey, come on over. We can all play with it together. And then next time, Janet buys something, everybody goes over there. So that constantly growing like that and keeping up with certifications. I would rather see someone progress to more aggressive and more advanced certifications than sit here and just keep doing the same certification year after year. But certifications are a great way because it gives you a direction for your passion. I'm thinking I'd really like to get into wireless. I need to check out Certified Wireless Network Professional, or I really want to get into routers, and so I'm going to go start taking CCNA. Do you see what I'm talking about? So that's what's really going to work for you to not be stuck in my ways. The moment I run into a tech who sits there and says, Windows 2000 was as good as I'll ever need, it's like, yeah, maybe it was. I'm not even going to disagree with them, but the reality is that's a flatliner thing to say. People are like, well, why upgrade? This is working fine. Well, because we're techs and we like technology and we like to play with the new stuff so we can learn about it, even if it screws up. So how's that for an answer? Michael Reeves at 308. Is the A+ and Network Plus necessary to be current to be successful for Security Plus? I write my Security Plus books with the assumption that you have roughly the equivalent, either a Network Plus or that level of experience. Don't go grabbing one of my books and thinking I'm going to teach you what is IPv4. I'm not going to. I'm just going to assume you know that. I'm not going to teach you what DNS is. We're going to talk about problems with DNS and DNS security issues, but I just assume you know it. I know people, we've had people here on this channel who've like, well, I didn't know anything, went straight to Security Plus. Congratulations. But A+ you could probably skip, but Net Plus I don't think you could skip. All right, am I up to speed here, Scoot? All right. Hey, you guys ready? Let's do another giveaway. I guess got to find a good question, guys. A lot of these questions are good. They're great multiple choice questions, but I don't want to sit here and go through all the. All right, I'm going to do a really unfair one here, just because it's fun. You guys ready? So I'm going to be looking for very specific words here, guys. So if you want to do this very broadly, you're probably not going to pass the Mike Meyers judgmental eyeball. Name a type of networking function that requires an ACL. There's like 50 of them. Name a networking function that requires an ACL. Zach. All right, we got some interesting answers here. All right, so, all right, we have a winner. There's enough in here that there's a winner in here. Okay. So my buddy Zach Morrill, who I kind of really want to win one of these, is the first winner on mine, and he typed in DHCP. Does DHCP require an access control list? I'm going to have, Zach, I can't give it to you, man. To me, DHCP is anybody can query a DHCP server. There is no access control on it. Guard A Burgess says FTP. Okay, FTP is a good example. Yes, FTP requires an access control list. For the record, there's lots of other good answers in here. Like Crazy Homebody Girl said firewall. That's the one I was looking for because to me that's the most obvious one. STP works. Routing in and of itself doesn't really have an ACL because a router will take any incoming packet and route it, but a router will often have a firewall. IPS, IDS, sure, I'll go with those. All right, I'm going to have to give it to Guard A Burgess. Guard A Burgess, congratulations. FTP is what I'm going to say. I'm going to go with the winner. Zach, keep trying, buddy. I'm going to give away 4 more books just so you have a chance at winning one, man. Even with your buffering issue, I'm pulling for you, dude. All right. So anyway, Guard Burgess, in order to get your free ebook from Dawn Dunkerley, what you have to do is send an email to kathy.y@totalsim.com. Send her an email and say, I'm one of the winners of the ebook, and she will get it to you. Do keep in mind that the ebooks are not yet out, so it could be 2 weeks or so before the books come out. So please be patient. Congratulations to you. Guard A Burgess just said no. Okay, Garde, I'm assuming you want the book. I see you typed in the word no. I don't know what that means. So we're going to go with it. Okay, Zach Morrill, quick question. What recovery software do you use? I've used a few, and everything I do, a recovery, it puts it in folders and random names and renames all the files and stuff. Yeah, well, if you've, Zach, if you got a problem on a hard drive and you've lost directory structure, it has to do that. It doesn't have a choice. So now I understand what you're asking. You're talking about hard drive recovery software. These days, there's not much out there that I trust. And to be honest with you, other than doing a simple check disk, most of the time, I will ship disks off to recovery services because for a lot of times for under $200, they can do better recovery than I can. And if I'm doing this for money, I'm just going to, mark it up 15, 20% and then charge the customer whatever it is. If it's for myself, then I just eat that price. I mean, the days of Norton Utilities and manually rebuilding, master boot records, those days are over, man. The Windows repair utility for Windows does a pretty good job of rebuilding directory structure. If it's NTFS, it'll find the other master file table and do those rebuilds for you automatically. And it's just a matter of throwing in that boot disk, hitting R for repair, and going through that process is really all I'm going to do. And most of the time, because I know I'm going to be shipping them off to a disk recovery place, I usually don't jack with it very much because I don't want to mess it up. Oh, you said no to your next question. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. You got it, Gardy. Congratulations to you. USA Health Insurance Reform. Good to see you, man. Haven't seen you for a while. Or I haven't noticed you. How does the difficulty of Net Plus compare to CCNA? I think, difficulty, I think they're quite similar in difficulty. They cover kind of different things. You got to remember, CCNA is really more of it's Cisco. You're going to be doing a lot of iOS stuff in there. And I don't think the depth is any harder than the Network Plus, but it is a bit more complicated because I find iOS to be a real PITA, and it can be a more of a challenge for that reason. But I wouldn't consider it. I'd consider them to be similar. Net Plus is also much wider than the CCNA. Yeah, Zach, you've got a corrupted drive, dude. You need to yank as much stuff off there as quickly as possible and then hope. But, you know, people always used to treat like these hard disk HDD recovery companies as like, oh my God, you know, we've lost the wedding photos, or, you know, we've lost the keys to the nuclear weapon. Honestly, folks, for a couple of $100, they do really, really good work. And I use them all the time for stuff that many people would consider minor. All right. So we given away 7 books. All right, Zach, get your keys on the keyboard, buddy. I can't give it to you, man. Oh, Deepak shows up now. Okay, so Deepak, I'm sorry you missed how you can get $5,000 for free, but hey, I'm glad you showed up, man. Red TB3, yeah, PETA, that is Greek. It sure is. It's like the ID10T error. You guys ever heard of an ID10T error? Tolowit, stop. Don't type. Don't type, Tolowit. Here you guys go. Here, you got a pen and paper in front of you? I want you to write down ID10T. And then, yeah, so that's an ID10T error. Those are words like when the customer is sitting right next to you and the boss is calling saying, what's wrong with the system? You can just say, oh, it's an ID10T. Or the other one is, here, I'll type it for you. You guys ready? You see me having some trouble here. ID10T. There you go. And yes, elbow, PEBCAC. Yeah, problem exists between keyboard and chair. Yeah. And you know, it's funny, users don't know these terms, and you can still use them to this day. I do. Whenever Scott Jernigan touches any technology, I usually say PEBCAC. All right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to give away one more book, and this is in honor of my buddy, Zach. We're all pulling for you, Zach. Let me find a question. Boring. Okay, here's a fun one. This is another easy one. Jerk face. All the love right there, brother. Okay, you guys ready? And now this is my opinion, guys. So this is almost an opinion question. I want you guys to enter the most robust type of hash you can think of. I'll give you a clue. It's not MD3. The most robust type of hash you can think of. Yeah, Luke, for the record, I have a lag just from my presentation to here. It's about 10 seconds. I have some winners, but I don't see, there are better answers. Oh. Keep going, guys. Marty McFly, you're hilarious. That's an asymmetric encryption. There are better answers than the ones that are out there, guys. So I'm going to give it a few more moments. Pseudo. We have people who are answering, but there can be better ones than even the ones that are out there. Keep going, guys. This competition isn't over. Marty McFly, are you just being disruptive? You stop that, young man. Who's Clint Eastwood? Alan Duggan, AES is an asymmetric encryption. All right, we'll stop here. All right, ready? I'm going to give it to Andre, my favorite Belgian. He did SHA-512, which is rare, but it is a more aggressive encryption. We could have gone way past that one, but yeah, sorry, MD5 is a very poor and is pretty much a collision full hash, and it's not used anymore, guys. So MD5 would not be the answer I was looking for. Andre, my favorite Belgian, congratulations to you, sir. You get a free copy of the new Passport Security Plus book. be sure to send an email to kathy.y@totalsim.com. Let her know that you're one of the so far 8 winners today, and you will get a free copy of that book. Zach, where were you, man? Ryan Hemken, I was just wondering if 450 pounds is reasonable for taking the A+ course, and what's the cheapest way to do it? Okay, well, Drumboynoid MD5 came from Giggle searches. Well, try Google. Ryan, okay, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but compared to later certifications, which are in excess of 1,000 pounds, it's not that bad. The easiest thing you can do is you can get about a 10% discount by ordering discount vouchers. Now, Ryan, you're in the UK. I can't sell you a discount voucher, but there are UK sources. Look for CompTIA International Discount Vouchers. Do a Google search for that, and you can usually get about a 10% knockdown on that. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is that if you can take your A+ through a school that has a E2C agreement, education to CompTIA agreement, they provide discount vouchers to the tune of about 60% off. But you usually have to be a student at the school. But if you know somebody, you never know what you might be able to pull off there. There is another way, and I'm not sure this will work, but last August we had Dr. James Stanger on, and Dr. Stanger provided a discount for CompTIA vouchers. And I'm not sure this is going to work overseas. That deal may still be there. I don't remember how big the deal was. More than 10%. It was less than 60%. But you're going to do, search under the Total Seminars channel, Dr. James Stanger, and see what you can find. Wow, I'm getting a bad lag here too. Yeah, it's no fun. All right. But those would be the things I'd recommend to you, Ryan. All right. So it looks like the questions are trailing off. There you go. Ryan, do you see what Zach Morrill's typing in for you? So there's something called the learning people. Oh, Elbow says, I believe Dr. Stanger's deal ended in November. Sorry, Elbow. I didn't know if it was still valid or not, so I threw that out there. It's always a good idea if you can, $450 is okay. Thank you, guys. The Stanger deal is no longer good. Sorry. Okay. All right. Guard Burgess. Mike, are AES 256 and RSA 4096 still a gold standard for encryption? Probably not. Most, for me, when you're talking about cipher suites for TLS, I'm going to look for elliptical curve as a instead of RSA, but RSA 4096 is still robust and uncrackable. And yeah, probably AES 256 is still out there. It's just that we can do better than that. That's all. Tolowit, in times of COVID, are there some government programs that can help with learning resources? Tolowit, none that I can quickly think of. That's all I got, man. All right. I'll tell you what, it's 3:53, and I don't seem to be lagging right now. So let's try to get in one more quick question. All right, here's a fun one. You guys ready? You have to do a little bit of typing here, but not much. This is the last book I'm giving away. You guys ready? Here we go. Oh, okay. All right. So here we go. You guys ready? Fingers on the keyboard. Give me an example of two-way authentication. Anything. Give me an example of here, two-factor authentication. Heck, if you want to do multi-factor, that's good. Oh man, these questions are too. Alan, you're good. You're turning into a ringer, dude. All right, I'm gonna have to give it to Alan Dugan because he got it first. He did biometric and passcode. That is certainly an example of two-factor authentication. Brian Dugan, you are the winner of the last book we're giving away. Sorry, Zach, I tried, man. I was only going to give away about 5 or 6 books, but I did some extras for you. Alan Dugan, congratulations to you. You are the winner. You get a free copy of Don Dunkerley's Security Plus 601 ebook. In order to retrieve that book, what you got to do is go to send an email to Kathy Y at totalsem.com. Let her know that you are the winner, one of the winners today for the ebooks, and she will get it to you. So good luck to you on that. All right. So I guess a couple more questions popped up, but do keep in mind a couple more things here. Number one, keep in mind that I'm giving away a free ebook, my 501 ebook, and that is with a purchase this week. It's 50% off the A Plus, Net Plus, Total Sester, and the Sims bundles, and the Security Plus practice questions. You got to have practice questions anyway. So if you buy my Security Plus practice questions at 50% off, which is already a ridiculous price, I'm going to throw in a free ebook for you. So all you got to do is go to www.totalsem.com and load up your thing with Fat Loot. And when you're checking out, type in the code 120720 at checkout, and you get, not only do you get the 50% off of the product, but you also get a free Security Plus ebook courtesy of moi. Now, keep in mind, this is the 501, which is only going to be good till next July. So hopefully you're going to be done by then, but that is for you. Also, remember that this Friday, my buddy Dave Rush is going to have his pie day. I'm not sure what Dave is going to be doing, but it's always good. So keep in mind, even if you're not a big fan of Raspberry Pis, Dave is really concentrating on using Raspberry Pis as a tool to help people pass CompTIA exams. It's dirt cheap. It's a complete computer. And Dave shows us time and time again how you can use a $50 or less computer to do all kinds of amazing things to help you understand different aspects of primarily networking, but also certain types of features and applications as well. So that is this Friday right here at Total Seminars channel, 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. And you definitely need to be there. Dave does a great job. Last thing I'd like to mention is that do keep in mind that my buddy Jose Braden has the Discord channel. This Discord channel is not official. It is not affiliated with Mike Meyers, nor is it affiliated with Total Seminars, although I do like to drop in from time to time, and I'll be dropping in today. The goal of this Discord channel is to begin building groups of people who want to study together. And I haven't really been keeping up. I'm hoping that Jose at this point is starting to find some more mods. I think I could think of probably 6 or 7 of you guys who should be volunteering to be mods, especially folks. Well, I'm not going to volunteer anybody, but we need some people in the Americas. We need some people in the EU. Some of you Pakistan folks, where it can be more of a 24/7 type of channel. And you're going to have to talk to Jose on that stuff. He is on quite a bit. And to start build this up where it's a place where you can ask questions, work with each other. I show up for a little bit, usually after these particular things, so I'll be on a little bit after 4 o'clock. But I really want to stress this: the onus is on you guys. It's not my Discord channel, and it's never going to be. I'm too busy. I can't do it. I do love dropping in to visit. I like helping, but I'm talking to you, Tolowitz and Andres and Elbows and Alice Potsy's and you guys, that you guys should be taking the bull by the horns on this and working with each other. The best way to learn anything is to teach it and to be able to help out. And look, worst comes to worst, you guys have my email address and you get hung up on something, I'm always glad to jump in and help out. But the onus is on you guys to make that happen, and I'll shut up. But I've said my piece. I'm getting off my soapbox. All right. Jack's here, but he doesn't want to talk to any of you guys, unfortunately. So let me make sure we got a couple more minutes. No. Okay, looks like we're all done with questions. Mr. Meeseeks, competitions are completely fair. No, they're not fair. We do have lag. We do have things. A lot of these questions are my opinion. I recognize they're not fair. Look, the only other alternative I could do, guys, is I could do a random number. You know what? Let's give away one more book. Is everybody left? Everybody still here? We're going to give away one more book, and we're going to do it based randomly this time, okay? And I'm going to wait a minute. So if you got a lag, even then you're going to be able to get in. All right? I have Scott Jernigan. Scott Jernigan, I want you to type a number between 1 and 10,000. Scott, type it into our Teams channel, which you guys can't see. Scott Jernigan is going to pick a number between 1 and 10,000. Whoever gets closest to Scott Jernigan without going over wins the last book. I will wait. Scott Jernigan will type in a number. Guys, Scott has typed in a number. Type anybody. So it's between 1 and 10,000, Tolowit. Maven, 1 in 10,000. You typed in 36,000. I'm waiting. So I'm going to sit here for, I know it's past 4 o'clock. It's all right. It's not like the world ends. Connor, it's between 1 and 10,000, not negative 65. Connor. Okay. Connor is jacking with me. I'm just going to wait here for a minute. Give people. Oh, wait. Some of you guys are typing in twice. All right. If you've typed it in twice, I'm going to check. All right. So Scott's answer is 6789. All right. We're done. Scott says DPAC won, but I don't see that. Scott, I'm sorry. Oh, shoot. Deepak Poon nailed it. Deepak, go play the lottery today. Wow, Deepak. Okay. I'm just going to have confidence that was legit. Deepak, congratulations to you, dude. Yeah, 1 in 10,000, and you freaking nailed it at 6789. Wow. Seriously, go play the lottery today. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Deepak, congratulations. You're the winner of the 10th and final book of the Don Dunkerley Security Plus 601 Mike Meyers Passport book. McGraw Hill loves long titles. And well done to everybody today. I hope we learned a lot. Dawn was a font of information. You're going to be seeing her again. I absolutely guarantee it. I'm going to be taking a few moments and gathering myself as it were, but we are done for the day. I'll see you on the Discord channel for those of you who are willing to do that. Otherwise, Friday is Dave Rush on having more fun with the Pi Day. Remember, next Wednesday, Jessica Dickerson will be here talking about how to get a job in very specific ways, how to use these online resources to really get a job. And she's going to turn you on to resources you never even heard of, because I hadn't. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. So, guys, that's all we got for today. I'm going to have to let you go. For those of you who get on the Discord channel, I will be seeing you there. Otherwise, until next Monday, this is your Mike saying good night, and we're off.